Have you ever had a moment where you overreacted to something tiny, a text left unread, a slight change in someone's tone, and suddenly your heart is racing, your palms are sweaty, and you feel like the world is ending? Logically, you know you're safe, but biologically, you're in a fight for your life. Most of us think we are driving our own lives. We think we make conscious choices based on today's facts. But the truth is, for most of us, a version of us from 10, 20, or 30 years ago is actually sitting in the driver's seat. To change the direction of your life, you have to look under the hood of your brain to understand the 4 specific reasons why your past is still ruling your present, and how you can finally take the wheel back. Chapter 1. Neural Blueprints. Let's start with the foundation. Neural blueprints. Think of your brain as a master architect. During your first 7 to 10 years of life, your brain isn't just learning facts, it's building a map of how the world works. If you grew up in a home where you had to be perfect to be loved, your brain didn't just hear that, it physically wired it. It built a superhighway of neurons that connects vulnerability to rejection. In neurology, there is a saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. By the time you're an adult, these blueprints are so deep they become your default settings. You don't choose to be a perfectionist or to be defensive. Your brain is simply following the only map it was ever given. You aren't broken, you're just incredibly well trained by your early environment. Chapter 2. The Emotional Time Machine. Now let's talk about why these feelings feel so intense. This is what we call the emotional time machine. Usually, when you remember what you had for lunch yesterday, your hippocampus, the brain's librarian, puts a date on it and files it away. But when you experience a trauma or a high-stress event, the amygdala, your brain's alarm system, takes over. The amygdala is primitive. It doesn't care about clocks or calendars. It stores the memory as a hot file. This means when something in the present smells, sounds, or feels like that old pain, the amygdala rips that file open. It doesn't tell you, hey, this reminds us of 2005. It screams, it's happening again. This is why you don't just remember the past, you relive it. Your body is reacting to a 20-year-old ghost as if it's a living threat standing right in front of you. Chapter 3. Procedural Memory. The third reason is procedural memory. This is the same type of memory that allows you to ride a bike or tie your shoes without thinking. You don't have to consciously remember how to balance. Your body just knows the procedure. We also have emotional procedural memory. We have survival strategies that we practiced so often as kids that they became muscle memory. Maybe you learned to go quiet to avoid a parent's anger. Maybe you learned to use humor to deflect tension. The problem is that these moves were designed for a specific game you played as a child. Now, you're in a totally different game, maybe a healthy marriage or a professional job, but you're still using the old moves. You're trying to use a hammer to fix a computer. It's not that you're self-sabotaging, it's that your autopilot is running a program that is 20 years out of date. Chapter 4. Familiarity bias. The final piece of the puzzle is the most frustrating. Familiarity bias. The human brain is designed for one thing: survival. And to your primitive brain, familiar equals safe. Even if the familiar situation is painful, your brain knows how to survive it. It knows the rules of chaos. It knows the layout of neglect. When you try to move towards something new, like a healthy, stable relationship, your brain actually panics. It's unpredictable. It's unknown. This is why we often choose predictable misery over unpredictable happiness. We find ourselves dating the same type of person, or staying in the same dead-end jobs because, subconsciously, it feels like home. Our past rules us because we are afraid of a future we don't recognize. Conclusion: breaking the cycle. So, how do we stop the past from ruling the present? It starts with awareness. The moment you can say, "I am not in danger, I am just triggered," you begin to create a gap between the old blueprint and your new life. You start to tell your amygdala what year it is. You start to realize that the moves you learned as a kid aren't necessary anymore. You can't change the chapters that have already been written, but you are the one holding the pen for the chapter that starts today. Your past explains your present, but it doesn't have to define your future. This is not easy, but it's absolutely possible. Like and subscribe for insights.